try and keep the mouths near the microphones as much as possible.
Okay.
You're okay, just don't move them away, kind of thing.
So much pressure. I have a very small brain.
Right, I'm ready whenever you guys are. Well, it's just a play.
Brilliant.
However soft opening you want to do, or
How soft?
Do we want to do a soft opening?
It's one of these things, isn't it? It's very cool. It's very on trend.
I've never been described as on trend before.
Own it.
Maybe I should.
These people don't know you, like, fully yet. Yes. So reinvent yourself. I like the idea of a soft opening. We'll use this, or Jordan may just cut it out. So if you never see this,
it'll be in the blooper reels
just for us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, no, we'll start.
Yeah, we will. So with that, we'll say welcome everyone to episode 2. We can actually call it episode 2 now.
We can.
Chasing the Grail.
It took for C to me to realise what was going on.
You were struggling a bit last time, weren't you?
Numbers okay, clearly alphabetical, no.
But we're here.
We're here.
We've survived doing the introductory bits, and now we're filming episode 2, which is exciting.
We've not been canned.
By ourselves.
Or wives.
Well, I've got something to tell you, actually.
Oh.
Right, so...
We're replacing George.
What, with my wife?
Yeah.
So
that would be good content.
It would.
There would be little questions. Yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about 4 things. So hopefully that's okay as a framing.
Yes.
We're going to do what's on the wrist today. We're going to share a hot take with everyone. So something we've heard, something we're hearing, bit of market insight. We're going to do a brand in focus. And today we're going to be looking at Christopher Ward.
Good starter brand.
Good choice.
Good choice.
And then we're going to be answering a couple of questions which you guys have kindly submitted to put us on the spot.
Yeah, some exciting bits. Yeah, and to kind of evolve and see where it goes, and also maybe at the end suggest some ideas to kind of see how it goes and kind of how we fill the time.
But I'm teasing everyone there.
Yeah, I don't mean to, but I guess there's so many ideas. It's about trying to do something new, isn't it? I guess because we haven't got much pressure, and there's only like 2,000 or 3,000 people listening or watching right now. We can kind of almost try and do some new things. So we've got some exciting things that we're gonna talk about to float the idea out there, which I'm in my head convinced it's amazing.
And if it's in your head and it's correct, then
it's wrong. Yes, so
we're halfway to right.
We're halfway there.
To look at it.
We are halfway there, exactly. Yeah.
So enough waffle.
Yeah.
Tristan, what's on the wrist?
A Tag Heuer that's very expensive.
Okay. Don't knock your glass of water on it then.
I really like it. It's one of the new titanium DLC ones. It's black, and it's got bits of pink on it.
Ooh.
And it's skeletonized. I really like it, but the retail price is £9,850.
Wow, it's lumpy.
Yeah, I almost feel like we've got this Daytona effect of no one can get a Daytona, so everyone else who makes a chronograph has gone, we can just double our prices. Speedmaster went, we can rock this. Tag have gone, we can do this. So really nice piece, quite nicely sized. 39mm, I think.
Pretty good sizing. Yeah,
it's pretty good size. Yeah, I like it. So Tag Heuer Monaco with pink on it.
Excellent.
Yeah. What have you got?
So I've got something really exciting. Well, at least I'm very excited about.
And 9 other people.
And 9 other people in the world. So there's a little bit of a tease for everyone as to what it is.
Yes.
So what I have on my wrist, and I'm very pleased to have, is a Christopher Ward C1 Loco 7326.
Well remembered.
Why? Well, it is. But why do I remember that? And why is it 7326? Because that was the date of the British Watchmakers' Day 2026. So the 7th of March 2026. And I was one of 10 people to be able to secure one.
Lucky.
Very lucky, very fortuitous. And I also owe a debt of gratitude to someone who helped me obtain it as well. And they know who they are, and I expect they'll be watching. So thank you to them.
Good. It's nice when you get a special piece like that in and you know how rare it is, especially from a brand that is so hot right now as well.
That was very Zoolander saying so hot
so
right now.
hot right now.
So
I might do
hot
blue
right now.
steel pose. Yeah, it's a special piece. It gives me Breguet tradition,
Yes.
which I have recently experienced, vibes, but on a modern take.
Yeah.
Very modern. So,
Yeah.
no, cool piece, and that leads us in nicely, doesn't it? Actually, almost teases up perfectly to our brand of, or brand in focus.
Yes.
Brand in focus. Say brand of the week. You can call it whatever you want. Brand in focus, what we're going to go with, which is Christopher Ward.
It is.
A lot to talk about with Christopher Ward.
Yes.
I feel like I skipped Christopher Ward, i.e., they've been around 2004, 2005. Correct, yeah. So they've been around a long time, and they're a very interesting company in the way they came to market, which looks like a masterstroke, but we are 20 odd years down the line of that masterstroke, which is direct to consumer, which kind of leads on to other brands, and how they're maybe struggling right now, and you've got to have that margin, and you've got other people to sell it, they've got to have their margin, but they are doing really well right now, Christopher Ward. But I missed them, when I got into watches, and then when I got into as a retailer, they weren't really anything that ever really came across. I started out with like the Tag 2000s. That was my kind of boat. But yeah, definitely you're having some luck, and you've probably got enough to open a shop right now. So I would say.
For me, something that always jumps out at me about Christopher Ward, you're right, they've been in existence since 2004. Who'd have thought kind of three blokes getting together and bringing together a brand would be where they are now.
And British.
I love the pricing model in that they are typically charging 3 times construction for what they sell their watches for. But I also like the fact that they are typically 3 times less expensive than probably their comparative watches. So if I think of like a Lumiere as an example versus a Tudor Pelagos,
Oris Aquis,
you're looking at about a third of the price for what is not a massive step down in quality, in my opinion.
I don't think it is. I've handled some. I've definitely, the ones I've handled that are maybe 10, 15 years old, they're interesting. You can certainly see how they've evolved into their own identity. I'd probably say that really definitely the last 5 years, they've really got a very clear identity. Before that, it comes to mind, it was almost very, like, I can think of some of the earlier ones that I can think of, and I've handled like almost Planet Ocean-y-esque kind of in style. But yeah, as you kind of said, it is right now, they are so hot. It's one of the few watches, and I don't get this in very often. I'll get something in and it will go up for sale, and I'll go, I think that's going to be 4,000. And I'll go in really confident because I've bought the watch. In my head, it's the best thing ever. I love it. I've got my dopamine fix, and I'm like, it's worth 4,000. And then the market goes, no, it's not. It's worth 3,800, or it's worth 3,700. Christopher Ward is probably the only brand right now where I'm sitting, and I don't handle too many, but I go, I think it's worth 900, and the market goes, no it's 1,100. And there's such a pattern arising, and I look at how quickly they go and where they go. It's quick. You get a week, 2 weeks. America, very often, they go to. But I think it's just kudos to the brand for doing something so well and something so unique, I think, in today's climate as a retailer, as a brand.
And you spoke a bit about identity. And if I think back, if I rewind the dial back to really when I was, starting out collecting, the journey to today, I think for Christopher Ward, has been punctuated by a number of different events. One of them, if I think, is arguably a negative in, I think, collectors' minds, is the constant changing of logos and brand identity. And I think they went through a bit of a time where they changed logos like 4 times in like 10 years or something. And that made it a little bit tough to grasp the brand identity.
Logo's hard to get right.
Yeah.
Very hard to get right.
But then I look at some of the positive kind of punctuation marks throughout their story, and I think of things like the the creation and the implementation of the SH21 movement,
Mhm.
which is in the Snow Leopard that we've got
Mhm.
behind us. And for me, for a British company who originally you would describe as a micro brand, now you would probably call them more of an independent.
Pretty mainstream.
They're pretty
Yeah,
mainstream.
they're in a lot of watch boxes.
To have their own in-house movement
Yeah,
is incredible.
it's been around a while.
It's been in
10, 12 years.
it's been around a while, and I think collectors, you have a group of people, a large group of people that collect Christopher Ward, and then you have a subset of collectors within that who look specifically for that SH21
Yeah.
housed watch,
Yeah,
because it elevates it
yeah,
as a collector. I think about the vertical integration that they've gone through as a brand, where they now do a lot of their stuff in house. You look
Mhm.
at some other micro brands that have gone on the independent kind of scaling journey,
yes,
and they are less vertically integrated.
they are. And some have had to back off. Some of them have
Right.
to really go in deep. They've really tried to push the made in England, and they've realised that it costs a lot of money and it's
Yes.
hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's tricky, to
It
keep that
is.
cost base down. We use Braemont as an example. It's the way kind of they were going, and I think that's my problem with Christopher Ward. And it's almost I really hope they don't, but I really hope they keep going on this trajectory. Is they just keep smashing it out the park, because it's really exciting to see, and especially something that's British.
Yeah.
There's that part that you kind of go, do you know what, you can
Yeah.
actually feel proud about it. I just hope we don't potentially, and I'm still a big fan of them, but I think they're going through this weird phase right now. I just hope they almost don't go down maybe a Braemont-esque type route. And I think they're a lot more well guarded compared to maybe Braemont because of the way that they do business. But I do hope they keep innovating and keep tweaking and keep improving, because the whole package that Christopher Ward offers, the purchasing, the way that they do direct to consumer, they handle that process. The boxing's quite cool. I actually like the boxing. It's nice. It's well packaged. It's good quality. They're not a lot of brands right now. You buy a Breitling, you get a fabric canvas. I remember handing over a £25,000 gold Breitling, and the person was adamant that it was the wrong box, and I was swearing, no, it's a recycled box, because you can go and recycle this if you want to. So it's
Which you wouldn't.
Which you wouldn't, no. But hey, it's an interesting one.
You look fairly recently at the launch of the Bel Canto, and I think for me that was, I'm fortunate enough to have a Bel Canto. I was quite late to the party,
right?
But I think for me, the release of the Bel Canto, it sold out in a ridiculous time, and it won awards.
Yes.
But for me, it was more the messaging and the signalling that sent out as a brand, that you were going from a watch company that was selling, divers watches and pilots watches, and a few kind of dressy. I think the 12 had come along, and they were going slightly into the dressy space.
Yeah.
But suddenly you had a watch that was, sub, I was going to say £5,000, but even £10,000, that had a chiming feature that went off on the hour, that others of those exist, but they are much, much more expensive.
Much more expensive. And it's well packaged. You look at the quality, it's so easy to kind of go, we've made this and here it is in 45mm, because that's what we could do. That we could kind of jam it all in. But you actually look at it and go, you actually feel like you get a product that it's what a collector wants in today's sizing. You're not kind of forced into it. The best we can do is 45mm.
Yeah.
So here you go. You're going to have it in this, and maybe we'll bring it out in a 42 in the future. It's that you kind of go, no, actually get it in a sensible size now. So you feel like they've really worked on refining it and bringing it out. So they're definitely, but the worry is that you just hope they keep it, like anything with the economy, isn't it? You look at some watches of today, and we talk about it at the beginning, the Monaco. You need £10,000 for a Monaco. And, you look at, some of the Rolexes that are out today, and the Speedmaster is £7,000 and Seamaster £6,000. We are starting to get into a really uncomfortable zone, I feel.
It's a different echelon of watches, isn't it?
It is. And I really hope Christopher Ward stay on the path of that. But they're best and they're well organized to be able to control that with the business model they have.
Yeah.
So I think, as a you take a step back and look at them outside of just the watches themselves, and you look at them as a business and a business model.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
A really good job. And you can see why they're now starting to really get the kudos that they deserve.
Yeah, I think if I had one sort of amber warning light on my dashboard with the brand, and I'm quite connected to the collectors and the forums online, I think one slight reservation that I have is the number of collaborations that they're doing. I think that in itself can be a good thing for however many of the brands are involved.
Do you not like the collaborations on who they're doing it with?
It
seems to be very British.
My concern is that there are just too many.
Right.
And that if you have, I think about the Hublot model, for instance.
Yes.
If you have a real lack of exclusivity by just sheer number of collaborations, each of those collaborations becomes less special.
It does, yeah, it does. You can definitely lose your way, and yeah, I think it's very similar to like a lot of brands, isn't it? As you pump out more models and more watches, and you go from 5,000 producing a year to 12,000,
That's right.
You've got to hope that you're bringing in new people to the brand, because if you're not, you're always going to get what happened to Panerai, for example. An amazing brand, but especially in the early days, they would number their watches, and it would get to a point where there just wasn't the quantity. There were so many people because it was such an on-trend and exciting brand. There wasn't the quantity to go out and buy them used, so it was almost a fight. They were going for overs because there was only 5,000 in the market. The next year, there was 7,000 in the market. Is that going to happen with Christopher Ward, whereby they're going to produce an extra 2,000 a year, but they're only going to introduce an extra 1,000 customers to the brand each year, and you're just going to start to get to the point where there's too many options on the market, and especially with collaborations, they only sometimes tailor to a certain type of collector, a collaboration. So I think the only way you could probably do that is what they've done with what's on your wrist.
Yep.
Limit your pieces if you're doing limited edition. Make it so that it is that golden grail piece that you kind of go, I've got the opportunity to actually get this, and there's only 10 of these. That's really cool.
And that's a lovely lead into my hot take of this episode. So my hot take would be, as I said, the watch that I'm really consider myself fortunate enough to be wearing is number 3 of 10. The guy who got number 1, believe it or not, flew in from Florida, queued up at 4:00 in the morning outside, I think it's Linden Hall in London, probably in the cold and in the rain, being the UK.
Yes.
And waited in line, went straight to Christopher Ward and was able to get number 1. And if that is not, obviously it shows his dedication, but it shows the power of the brand now. And your point, Tristan, around the appeal of Christopher Ward in the US.
Oh, it's huge.
It's massive. And a lot of the groups that I'm a member of, the forums that I'm active in, are equal parts UK, but equal parts other countries in the world as well.
And the thing we really need to take into account with, especially the US, if you get a US buyer willing to buy a Christopher Ward, they're not paying our prices. They're paying 20-25% extra.
Absolutely.
And especially some of the Christopher Wards that are going over there. For example, the pocket watch that I had in recently, absolutely lovely piece with Studio Underdog. I had that in. That went within 24 hours to the US, and that went for 4.5. But that person would have paid an extra 20-25% more. And it just goes to show that it is a brand right now that not many watches leave the respective countries they're in due to that import problem. If there's X amount of watches, they tend to stay. Not many people are kind of transitioning them out. So, for someone to make that decision to go, I'm going to pay that much extra for that watch, you kind of go, there.
It has that pull. It has that ability to draw people in.
Yeah, and I think that will help that element that I kind of said earlier, which is you want them to go to different countries.
Yeah.
Because there might only be so many buyers in the UK. Yep. So the more that kind of spread around the world, better it's going to be, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But there we go, Inks.
Should we get into some questions?
We'll get into some questions. I should have pre-read these, but I haven't.
You're telling me you haven't read these questions?
I copied and pasted them, and I've written them down. So they're going to really catch me off guard. So I'm going to what I'm going to do,
You're
play
going
it
to put me on
cool.
the spot.
I'm going to play out cool. I'm going to ask you the first question. I'm then going to I've just seen what the second question is. I'm going to go with. I'm actually going to take the first question
Fine.
because I'm not like micro brands, but I'm not huge into them. So I'll take the first question if that's okay.
And I'll take the second one. So first question from Craig in South Lanarkshire. So thank you, Craig. Tristan, is there such a thing as the perfect everyday watch or one watch collection, or is that just fantasy?
I guess it depends. Obviously, I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? For me, I've always looked at this. If you have a grail piece, for me, a grail is saying you still love the hobby. You're still in it. You're still chasing something. It's not necessarily an actual watch. It could be something at that moment, but then it's another grail and it's another one. It's basically saying that fire's still alive. So for me personally, yes, it is a fantasy. I think as a collector, there's been several times where I've looked at a box of 10 and gone, I'm going to consolidate to one and I'm going to go to one. And I do it. And after 2 weeks, I go, yeah, but sometimes I do that activity and I have to have it for that activity. So I go then to 2 and I scroll back up to 10. So I think it's a fantasy. But there is some people that a watch is just a watch. It's there to tell the time. It's there to keep. They will wear, an amazing watch. They'll wear a Rolex Submariner, which is an amazing everyday, just it does everything kind of watch. So there is few people, but I think it's the sooner you realize that, especially you'll know if you wake up thinking about watches and you go to bed thinking about watches. You've got it. Unfortunately, you've got the bug. And yes, it's a fantasy. But the sooner you learn to realize that, the better it probably is. Just make peace with it. Then the family around you can make peace with that, and everyone can just move along and judge you looking at your watch box. So, for me, it's a fantasy. But there is some amazing everyday watches out there that people can wear and enjoy. But I'm personally one of those people that I enjoy the next one, and I don't like looking back too often. I enjoy, the next one. So, fantasy, Craig.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty good question for you, Craig Solihull. Is Craig moving about, or is
he didn't just get in his car and ask questions from different locations? No, it is two different Craigs. I can confirm.
Thank you for two Craigs. Yes. What do you feel is missing from the micro brand space?
So my personal journey with micro brands has been pretty extensive, really starting around COVID up until even now.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of thoughts that can exist at the same time. One is that stepping out of British Watchmakers Day on Saturday just gone, although by the time this goes out, it will clearly be a little while ago, but the micro brand space is really alive. And I think being able to offer that direct-to-consumer, value-led proposition that people want to be able to maybe achieve that dopamine hit. They want to be able to go out and buy a new watch that doesn't require them to think about, oh God, what do I need to offset in order to be able to buy this, is still very much a thing.
Yeah.
To answer the question, what do I feel is missing from the micro brand space? One of the biggest things that I think puts myself and maybe others off is depreciation. When it comes to micro brands, that you can go and buy something for, even if it's a fairly modest amount, let's say £500, it can depreciate quite significantly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that can come from micro brands being largely homage based. So, it looks like a Submariner. It looks like an IWC Pilot. It looks like something more mainstream. So I think the real micro brands that are able to preserve value longer term, a lot of that comes from that uniqueness, that ability to put out something that is slightly different, that gets people kind of hooked on the brand. I think something like Studio Underdog.
Yes. They did a great job.
Who
they control that supply.
Right.
Which I think is important.
It's important. And I think that would be my suggestion for any kind of micro brands, is to look at ways to tackle depreciation as best they can.
And I guess it's difficult, isn't it? Because I guess, some things they can't control, because, a lot of these brands, they are releasing only 100 of those pieces. It's almost the the market will dictate it. But yeah, depreciation is that one that can very quickly make you stop in your tracks when you do the next one and go, yeah, that was painful, that last one. So, but it's hard. But look, the thing about a lot of micro brands is they tend to come to market and they're really good bang for buck.
Yeah.
You get a lot of watch for the money.
Yeah, the value proposition is great.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is absolutely fantastic. And that kind of leads us really to the end. But I do want to float something out there. And obviously, as much as we're going to change our jumpers and tops every time, people will realize our hairstyles and beards and everything is the same level. So we do these in batches, but we like to freshen up for those TikTok shorts. Yes, that's
easy
the one.
For you to say. Yeah.
I've never logged in or have an account on that thing, but yes, I know it's good. I guess floating an idea out there. One thing we've kind of spoken about, we really like the idea about, is we're in a really fortunate position doing this, whereby we're both enjoying. I would say I've been pretty excited about doing the next one. Like I'm pretty sure I said on the chat 5 times, when are we meeting up for the next one?
Yes.
Thinking they're not answering me. Like I want to do the next one.
Please make me feel special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think what I'd love to do, and I'd love to get some feedback from people, and float the ideas. And the reason we're talking about it now is because we're going to do a batch of these. So the earlier we kind of get to know, the more planning we can put into this. But I would love, and to get people's thoughts, the idea of us reviewing the experience. We go out, we buy a watch from, a brand. We're not talking about Rolex, not that, deep pockets, but go out and buy a brand and we open it here. We critique the whole experience, how quickly did it arrive? What's the packaging like? We it sounds corny, but we open it in front of people and we have that conversation, that fresh conversation. And I really like the idea of us doing something good. We raffle it off for charity, so I'd love to kind of get people's opinion on that, what people's thoughts are, maybe some suggestions potentially. I would love to do it as a mystery shop. Yes, I imagine it's very easy maybe for us to eventually go out and start being given watches, and you somewhat feel obliged maybe to say nice things about it because it's a free watch and it's in front of you. Yeah. But I like the idea of having an authenticity about us going through a very unique experience of what other people are going to go through. Let's open it, let's go through on the journey together, and then we raffle it off as a charity. So to get people's opinions on that, I think would be really important, and I would love to do something like that. So any suggestions you've got with brands, or what's your opinion on that, or maybe some tweaks or anything would be brilliant. Yeah. So that's my kind of wrap up bit. I don't know if you've got any.
No, I think that's it for me. I think I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in again.
Yes.
We must be doing something at least half right.
Yes, the algorithm said.
The algorithm said
yes.
so. Yeah.
Yes.
But we welcome feedback. We welcome topic suggestions, questions, comments, because ultimately we're doing this because we love it, but also because we want to hopefully help others and bring some, experience and to other people as well.
We've been on a fun journey. We're both in a fortunate place. We've both been watch collectors for a good amount of time. Yeah. But we also are in a different perspective in the market, especially with what I do as a rather large side hobby. It would be good to kind of get some questions to kind of see if we could help people on that journey to not have that depreciation and what's hot right now, what's not. So thank you very much for tuning in or listening. Have a great evening, weekend, whenever you're listening. So thank you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks.